Hi, Tam here. Now, here's an interesting story. 3 days ago, I was working in the ER, in the emergency and trauma unit. Obviously, the topic on the news and on everybody's lips is the Ukraine and Russia. Understandably, it's big news, it's top news, and there are breaking news every day. So, I was seeing a patient who had a large cut on his, he had been cut by a machine at work, and I had to suture his arm, like it was a massive laceration. The whole time I was suturing, the nurse that was next to me was talking about the Ukraine-Russia conflict. I finished suturing and then I took the nurse aside. And I told him, listen, we are at work. Let's not talk politics at work. We shouldn't be talking about the Ukraine or Russia or Zelensky or Putin at work. And and the nurse said, no, okay, no, I understand, yeah, you're right. On the same day, later on, one of the ER doctors, so how many were we? We were 3 ER doctors. So one of the ER doctors was also very vocal about, the situation in the Ukraine. So later on, when he took his break, he took a lunch break, a short lunch break, I spoke to him. And so I took the doctor aside during his break, and I told him, look, we shouldn't really talk politics at work, in a hospital. This should be a sterile environment. Patients are sick and injured. They're coming for treatment. And let's not give our opinion on political situations around the world, or in this country for that matter, to our patients or when our patients are there. It should be a sterile environment. And the doctor agreed with me. And it's not really appropriate for us to talk about politics in front of our patients. Our patients are coming to be treated. When I go and see my dentist, I don't really want to listen to my dentist's opinion about what's happening, political opinion about this political party or this situation in the world or in this country. No, I want my dentist to be completely neutral. And the same should apply to us in the unit, in the emergency unit. Let's keep it sterile in terms of our emotions, our political affiliations and opinions. It's very important. I don't want to be lying in a hospital bed, sick, in pain or injured, and listen to the doctor who's treating me, mouthing off his opinion or her opinion about the Ukraine conflict, especially if I don't agree with the doctor. It shouldn't be like that. That's called professionalism. Let's remain professional in the workplace. The only thing I talk about when I'm in hospital is patient care. Yes, sometimes when there's no patient, which is very rare, we'll have a good banter and talk about various things, but light-hearted stuff, happy stuff, so that the morale of the crew, of the staff, is boosted up. Even you as a staff member, you don't want to come to work and be aggravated by your colleagues because they have an opinion that's different, in some cases drastically different, from your opinion. Just like I don't want my microwave to have political opinions, I don't want my fridge to give me its opinion on the Ukraine situation. I don't want my doctor to have an opinion about politics and wars around the world. And I think it's fair. Let's keep it strictly professional. The patient is sick, the patient wants some help. Let's help the patient, let's manage the patient, treat the patient, cure the patient, make the patient feel better. And that's all we are required and expected to do. It's fair. And so here's my position on the Ukraine-Russia conflict. This is something that I didn't say when I was in hospital because it's nobody's business, but I'm going to say it now because this is my channel, right? As a human being and as a doctor, my main concern is the people. The Ukrainian people and the Russian people. War is horrible. Even if you're trying to keep it clean, people will get killed, people will get murdered. War is ugly. For all the civilians who are getting killed, displaced, who are losing their homes, who are having their homes destroyed, that's terrible. And so my main concern is the civilians. And on the Russian side, my main concern again is the civilian population. Yes, politicians are congratulating themselves on the toughest sanctions ever against Russia. That's ridiculous. As proven in Venezuela and in many other countries, when you do that, you are only hurting innocent people. Imagine you're in a situation where you're now running out of medication, you're diabetic, you can't get your insulin, you're asthmatic, you can get your Astavin pump, your albuterol pumps and Symbicort and all that stuff, and you can get your chronic meds, your antihypertensive and all that stuff. It's a disaster. It's a disaster. Sanctions, I've always stood against sanctions. You're only hurting civilians who cannot afford to just leave the country and get stocks of medication and come back. Only the wealthy, the rich can do that. So you are killing people. And I've worked in countries where I've seen how, a lack of resources can put a death sentence on innocents, on children. You're creating an environment where diabetes becomes a death sentence. And so that's my opinion. I'm not going to talk about my opinion on the conflict itself, because as I said, I'm not qualified to talk about this. I'm just giving you my opinion from a human perspective. And then, still on the human perspective, but more on human right and freedom of speech. To my surprise, in the year 2022, a channel like RT has been banned in multiple countries. Now I watch news from multiple sources on YouTube and everywhere, I am very open-minded and I always absorb both sides of the story. But it's been banned because it is state-sponsored. It is sponsored by the Russian government. But so what? The BBC is the mouthpiece of the British government. And I find it unbelievable that in the year 2022, the European Union can ban a news corporation, a news channel like RT. Ban them. You're no longer operational here. That's to me, that's just unbelievable. And you know, they might have been doing propaganda, to be honest with you, but it might happen. But so what? The BBC does propaganda, CNN does propaganda, right? Sky does propaganda. I mean, every channel is pushing an agenda. Fox News does propaganda as well. ABC, NBC, I mean, every news channel is putting forward what the management board is allowing them to put, or maybe even instructing them to put forward, to put out. Let people decide and filter the news, but to shut down one news organization because you don't like what they're putting out, and you let the others continue doing some of their propaganda as well, because this is in line with our own vision of the future. It's ridiculous. It's hypocrisy, actually. I mean, if you don't like it, don't watch it. But don't ban it. If you feel that what they're saying is not the truth, let people decide for themselves. I was surprised. I think that's why you should allow both sides of the story. Anyway, that's just my opinion. Cheers.